First of all, I want to recognize the success of our program so far by noting that Al Little, Amy Esnard, Luke Bodges, and the rest of the annual conference committee and our staff have been doing a great job. I think that we owe them a round of applause for the success we've had so far. This morning's award program recognizes well-deserving individuals and organizations. Several URISA committees work throughout the year to review and rank the different applicants that are submitted for these awards. I want to thank them for their efforts. The award winners, if we ask you to stay after the programs, we'll do the photographs then. Steve Holmes was the chair of the committee this year. He was unable to join us because he's working in Colorado on the relief efforts there. So I'm pitching in for him. Awards are submitted in two categories, exemplary enterprise and exemplary single process systems. We're going to start by looking at the enterprise category. To be considered for this award, a system has to impact multiple work groups or involve multiple processes across an organization or among multiple organizations. Typically involve data from multiple sources or provide products to a number of different user groups. Our top prize for exemplary system as an enterprise goes to the City of Calgary. The Geospatial Emergency Management, or GEM project, was a large and complex undertaking that provided operational presentation of data for the city's emergency management agency. Using a managed, phased approach, the project brought in data from a number of outside organizations through an interagency cooperation strategy that offers a good example of almost everyone in local government and emergency management can follow. Users provided testimonies that clearly demonstrated this project has the scope and level of success to make it the 2013 Exemplary Enterprise System. I want to recognize Liz Finley, the GEM project sponsor and manager, and Nancy Merritt, the geospatial consultant and GEM project advisor. If you come down, please, for the award. We also have three other submissions in the enterprise category that we want to recognize as distinguished systems. The first one is for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Common Operational Picture. COP Program Manager Michael Edwards, if you're here, please come down to get your award. U.S. Department of Homeland Security also earned a Distinguished System Award for their geospatial information infrastructure. Louis Summers is the GII Program Manager. If you'll come forward and get your award, please. And last, we want to recognize the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments. They received a Distinguished System Award for the National Capital Regional Geospatial Data Exchange. Tom Connery from Fairfax County, Virginia, and Heidi Hamill of KCI Technologies are here to accept the award. If they will come forward, please. This award has come at some expense to Tom personally. He had to go buy the tie yesterday. Thanks for the extra effort. Thank you. Thank you. We'll have the pictures later. Next, we want to look at the Single Process System Award winners. This category is smaller scale projects that serve the needs of a single process or a single work group. But otherwise, the criteria for evaluating these projects are identical to those of the larger enterprise systems. The 2013 Exemplary System Single Process Award winner is the Georgia Department of Transportation. This project serves as a role model for interagency cooperation at the local and state level. They had to work with local governments to try to pull together a statewide map database of 55,000 road miles as part of the new federal aid legislation. User testimonials noted increases in data availability and accuracy as a result of this project. Like the Calgary system, this project involved the interaction of many agencies. I can tell you from personal experience that trying to get and integrate data from local governments with state databases is a very difficult thing to do. I offer my congratulations to Jane Smith and John Hudler. If they'll come forward, please, to receive their award. We also have a distinguished system. We want to recognize the Show Me My House. It's a project that was developed for the snow ordinances in Des Moines, Iowa, where you can enter your address and it'll show you about your location within the snow clearing process. Anna Whipple, the GIS manager for the city, is here. This project was described yesterday afternoon in the public works session. Anne, if you'll come forward and give you the award. Once again, I want to thank Steve Holmes and the other ESIG review committee members for their important work to review and evaluate the nominees. I now want to introduce URISA board member and URISA International Coordinator Trip Corbin. To continue our recognition program, he's going to recognize the exceptional program by individuals and groups in service to URISA.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks, y'all, for being here. You know, URISA is nothing without our volunteers and our staff. We can't do this without any and all of y'all. However, within any organization, certain members and volunteers and staff always seem to rise to the top, put forth more effort, and really go that extra mile. And so we feel it's very important to recognize this, and hopefully this encourages others to step up and want to get one of these wonderful awards we have. So the first award that we will be presenting here is our Leadership Award. This award goes out to members that have demonstrated a quality of leadership that helps push URISA a little bit further along that helps promote the profession out there amongst others. And while we have many strong leaders in here, there's at least two this year that we wanted to recognize specifically. So our first award winner is Dr. He's such an unassuming gentleman when you meet him. Dr. Barry Weller. Many of y'all have probably seen him at GIS-Pro conferences in the past. He's always striving to energize the profession and energize URISA to do more and do exceptional work in the community. Dr. Weller was a leading contributor to the program book that we were discussing a minute ago that he said is free out there, the Foundation for Urban Information Systems and GIS book that was part of the 50th anniversary. That's a 300-page document that he helped coordinate a bunch of URISA past presidents and other leaders to help consolidate that. So you can imagine that's like, herding a bunch of alpha cats around and trying to get them pointed in one direction. And he was able to do that and get that book put together, which is a great resource for us, and do that. He is also our first second-time winner, there we go, of this award. He's a URISA past president from 1977 to 1978, and he just continues. Anytime we need somebody to help out, he steps up and does that. So we want to congratulate Dr. Weller on winning this award a second time and encourage him to continue his great efforts. So let's give him a round of applause. Unfortunately, he was not able to join us at this conference, so on his behalf, I'll accept his award and say thank you very much. Otherwise, we'd probably be here for another couple hours as he went into his anecdotes. Our next winner, I think many of us know quite well. Anybody that's been in URISA circles certainly knows him. Cy Smith. He's a URISA past president. He's a former COGO chair, a NISJIC past president. He stepped up this year to take leadership of the chapter advisory board, which is a part of our new organizational structure, and try to lay the groundwork and get that formulated so that we have greater interaction between URISA International and the chapters themselves. He's always there to help anybody that needs it. Valuable resource for all of us. So, Cy, would you please come up and accept your award? So our next award is the URISA Service Award. This is presented to those that have demonstrated faithful service to URISA and participated in various programs over a period of several years. These people dedicate a lot of their lives. I don't know when they sleep, oftentimes. So our first winner of this award is Mr. Al Little. Al is, as y'all have seen in this conference, he's all over the place, is the conference chair, making sure that we have a successful program, a successful event, and just working tirelessly to make that happen. So in addition, he just got elected as the Ontario chapter president. I was there when he got that nominating election, so congratulations to him on that, or condolences, whichever is appropriate. So Al, please come up and accept this award. And thank you for all of your efforts. I tell you, this is a great job. All these wonderful people and getting to tell them how wonderful they are, it's a wonderful thing to do. Our next is actually a group of young ladies that stepped up, and decided that we actually should start paying attention to young folks coming up in our profession. I don't know about y'all, my mom beat into me as a child that young people were made to be seen and not heard. Okay, and that was, when we got shoved off. These folks stepped up and said, no, these are the people coming up. These are the folks that are going to be taking over. These are the people that are going to be driving the profession. We need to pay attention to them. And they took this and went forward with it. And this conference, I think you have seen the impact of the group they helped create, the Vanguard Cabinet. The Vanguard Cabinet has been an integral part of this conference and is becoming a singular power within the URISA structure. They won't leave us alone. But these three ladies helped really make sure this thing got off the ground, provided mentoring and guidance, and really has been the key to laying that foundation for the Vanguard Cabinet success. So ladies, if you'll please come up and accept your award, Claire Brown, Amy Esnard, and Hillary Perkins. Thank you. I told you this was a good job. So next is a special award, the Barbara Hurst Service Award. This is presented to members and or staff that have made special contributions to URISA. This award was created in 2004 in honor of URISA's former Chief Financial Officer, Barbara Hurst. And this award is given to individuals and or committees who have shown a consummate level of service to URISA throughout an ongoing commitment to our success as an organization. This year's award winners include Ann Bishop and the URISA Chapter Affiliation Negotiating Committee. Ann Bishop just retired as our accounting financial person that had to take all of our stuff, put it into books, organize it, and then be able to tell all the various committees, chapters, board members, and anybody else who asked how much money they actually had, contrary to what the finance committee said they should have, okay? So it was a very, very stressful position, and she did this for years on end. She just retired this year. We hated to see her go. I think we begged and pleaded for her to stay, but there's only so much, I guess, she could finally take, and she decided to go off and enjoy warmer climates and less stressful days. So we want to recognize Ann for all of her accomplishments and all of the value she provided to our organization in keeping things running, keeping Wendy's day-to-day life a little bit easier. And all of our, as leaders within URISA, our life much easier. So let's give Ann a round of applause. Unfortunately, Ann could not join us today. She's too busy down on the beach enjoying some sun and whatnot. However, I have been told that the URISA staff plans to drag her back into the office one day and take her out to lunch and make sure she gets this. So thank you. So our other award winner, the URISA Chapter Affiliation Negotiating Committee. This was a group of URISA board members and chapter representatives that came together and began laying the foundation for where we're moving towards this unified membership model and helping to strengthen the relationship between the chapters and URISA International. This has been an ongoing discussion for many years, and this committee was able to come together and work out an agreement that helps strengthen that and brings URISA and the chapters back together as one big organization, and making sure that is understood, and is now forming the foundation for the Chapter Advisory Board. So would the following members of that committee please come up and accept your award? Cy Smith, Al Butler, Carl Anderson, myself, Teresa Townsend, Amy Esnard, Paul Karras, Colin Gowan, Luke Bogus, and Sandra Crutcher.
I want to recognize Greg Babinski too. He really initiated this activity, and we just kind of picked it up, and and carried it forward to conclusion, but it was really his concept to begin with, so I want to recognize him. Left the microphone unattended.
I know, I got to deal with that. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, sir.
And that was a big effort. For those that were part of that, no, we spent many hours on many conference calls trying to hammer out something that was fair and equitable and trying to work through a bunch of issues. So that was a big undertaking and went a long way to strengthening URISA as an organization. So now we want to recognize our outstanding chapter of the year. You know, URISA is only as strong as its members and the chapters that serve those members. So we every year try to recognize that. As a chapter past president myself, I know all of the efforts that go into keeping a chapter alive and vibrant, and so we want to recognize that chapter that goes kind of above and beyond. Every year this is a very close competition where we try to take in all kinds of criteria, from increased membership to programs to innovative services to all kinds of things that get compiled, as well as part of the chapter maturity assessments that get put in there. And this year was certainly no different. We had a lot of good things happening out there with the chapters. You are our boots on the ground, as it were, and making sure the URISA message gets out there. So it was a very tight race. However, we did have one chapter that kind of stood out above the others. So I want to congratulate the New England URISA chapter for all of their efforts and for being our outstanding chapter of the year. So if the New England chapter representatives, Steve,
yes.
anybody else on the board that would like to come up, please do so.
All current and past URISA board members, if you could come up, that'd be awesome.
Steve, congratulations to you and your chapter for doing a fine job in keeping the URISA message going out there. We greatly appreciate it, and I know you can't do it without a great team behind supporting you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's we're certainly very honored to receive this. We know there are a lot of great chapters out there doing a lot of great work, and we're certainly honored to receive this award this year. It's really a testament to the work of past and current board members who've really dedicated a lot of time and energy to really build a strong organization. We feel really good about where we are now, and we feel good about where we're headed. Thank you.
Steve, don't go too far.
I was going to say.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to turn the program over to Steve to do the chapter awards. So,
Thank you. All right, bear with me for a second here. Had these well hidden. So the New England chapter has two awards that we give out. There's one which is our Special Achievement Award, which is about recognizing individuals who, through the use of geospatial or other information technologies, have made a significant contribution that greatly enhances the efficiency and effectiveness of an organization, realizes a significant return on investment, or greatly improves the quality of services. The awardee this year helped to transform the way GIS data is organized and made available in Connecticut. He has facilitated the growth and innovation that has transformed Connecticut's Map and Geographic Information Center, also known as MAGIC. He has had a role in creating a seamless statewide historical 1934 aerial data set for the state of Connecticut. He has helped to establish the states of Connecticut's data center, a collaboration of academic and state organizations that serve as a liaison to the U.S. Census. He has helped to digitize a wealth of historical information through a massive scanning and metadata project of over 200,000 documents. The comprehensive collection of digital GIS data sets available through MAGIC has exploded in the past 5 years with his involvement, yet it still remains an easy and simple way to access information. What sets this individual apart is his tireless, ceaseless commitment to sharing what he knows. As a librarian, he wants to give knowledge to others. He does not silo data. He does not work in a vacuum. He does not assume, he shares. And here's a great quote from an individual who knows this person well. It's not just the quality of his work or his technical skills, it's the tireless commitment to give of himself for the simple sake that others may take away something useful that sets him apart. He is the embodiment of what we should aspire to be, a resource to others. And so this year I'm happy to present the 2013 URISA Special Achievement Award to Michael Hauser. He's from the University of Connecticut Map and Geographic Information Center. Michael, if you could come up, please.
Thank you. This is quite an honor, and as you clearly stated, I'm not the only one behind MAGIC, so I want to give credit to my colleague Bill Miller, who I've worked with over the past 6 years at MAGIC, helping to transform us into what we are, and the future looks very bright. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks. So bear with me a little longer here. I think this next award and this awardee is a very worthy individual. So the other award we give out, and this is not one that we give out annually, we give out when we have identified an individual who has either a NURISA member or a member of the NURISA board who has made a significant contribution to the organization and its mission. The awardee today exemplifies the meaning of superior and dedicated. He was a key player helping to sustain New England URISA when it was struggling to survive. He understood the importance of establishing and documenting procedures and protocols necessary to mature and sustain the organization. For example, the president's log. I like to call it the captain's log. Budgeting templates, event planning worksheets, all those kinds of nuts and bolts that are necessary to run and sustain an organization. He understood how critical that was. He realized that leadership starts with a vision, but is nothing without hard work, team building, speed, and authenticity. For example, I looked in the president's log. I'm not sure I'm supposed to reveal these things, but here's one entry from April 2009. You need a good team to be successful. Speed means don't dawdle in implementing your vision. And authenticity refers to how you interact with people. He understood the importance of recruiting good people to the board. He realized that one person couldn't do it all and worked to build a strong team. And I'd just like to touch on a couple individuals that were part of that team and critical. Mary Hutchinson, who was the treasurer for many, many years. Paul Samara, who was worked closely through some challenging times working with Neil. Fang Yang, who may be here today, I believe, who worked and picked up, as well as Mike Olkin, and many others as we've been recognized today. Fang Yang said, he dedicated a great deal of his time to running this organization for many years. He was instrumental in laying down the foundation for this organization to grow to where it is now. URISA benefited from his vision, excellent communication and outreach skills, his ability to identify talented people, his management skills, and his solid technical understanding of the profession. Paul Samara said, "He is the consummate collaborator, defender of both needed and defined processes. He has been unwavering in his commitment to this organization. His efforts have been nothing short of stellar. He exemplifies this award, and I cannot think of any person more deserving." Personally, when I first joined the URISA board, it didn't take me long to realize that he was the bedrock of the organization. It quickly became apparent to me that he had built a strong team, and I was proud to be part of that. More than anything else, he brought discipline, focus, and dedication to New England URISA. He was and still is committed to making URISA a great organization. I would like to recognize the 2013 Superior and Dedicated Service Award to Neil McGaffey. If he could come up, please. Neil's from Mass GIS, the Massachusetts Geographic Information Center. And Neil. Thanks so much.
Steve, thanks so much. I'm humbled. About 7 years ago, Tim Case and I met for lunch. I don't know how many of you know Tim Case. Tim's right here at one of the front tables. And to talk about New England chapter, which at that point was functionally, well, it was not functioning. I wouldn't have called it dead just yet, but it was not functioning. I was pretty much despairing of doing anything with it and wanted to just simply put it to bed. Tim wouldn't let me. So part of the reason I'm standing here today is because Tim was persistent about trying to get me to lead the charge and bring the chapter back. And so thank you, Tim. So Steve, thanks for those flattering comments, and thanks to the New England chapter for this recognition. I'd also like to thank those board members that Steve named and others unnamed who served while I was president. They certainly made my job so much easier, and their contributions were essential in laying the chapter's foundation. This year's recognition of the chapter as the URISA Chapter of the Year is testament not only to their contribution, but also to the leadership of successor presidents and to the New England Chapter board members who have served in the past 4 years since I stepped down as president. I've always felt that we each have a professional duty to serve our profession through URISA. And in doing so, I've gained much. I've learned more about leadership, about tools, new tools, and most importantly, made important additions to my professional network. Thank you.
So speaking about some very special people, this year we want to honor the 10-year anniversary of GISCorps. This has been one of the greatest success stories that URISA, I think, has ever launched and put forward. It has put a positive face to URISA not only here in the North American continent, but around the world. This group of volunteers dedicate themselves to improving not only our profession, but our world as a whole. They step up and volunteer their time, expertise, knowledge, skills, software, hardware, and anything else they can find to making the world a much better place. With that, I don't know what else I can say. I mean, these folks have done projects or missions in 47 different countries. They have completed more than 130 missions out there. And I can tell you recently, I'm on many GIS listservs, as a lot of y'all know, but when the Colorado disaster started and the Colorado listserv exploded looking for help, looking for volunteers, looking for ways to volunteers, one of the first things that went out was GISCorps. The recent flooding that was the other week. So with the recent flooding, one of the first things that came up on that list was get GISCorps, volunteer with GISCorps. They were on the top of that list. So with that, it's my distinct honor to invite a couple of the core committee members up here, Alan Ibaugh and Mark Salling, to come up and take it over. So round of applause for these GISCorps.
So is this, okay, we're good. Good morning, everyone. We don't need Alan. Sheree and I can handle this, right now at least. Okay. Well, it's my honor to start this off. So let's talk about GISCorps a bit. How many of you already know something about GISCorps? Everybody almost? Almost, good, okay. So I'm going to describe a little bit of our history and what we do, and that sort of thing. This is who we are, the core committee that tries to run things and find projects for our volunteers. Everybody on the committee, the core committee, is here except for Dave and Heather on that list up there. So maybe we could ask them to stand, actually. Core committee. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a little bit about the history, the model that we use, and our volunteers, and then Sheree is going to talk about some of the missions to give you an idea of what our volunteers do, and then we'll take questions and answers. Our history started with a simple idea and a question: would GIS professionals be willing to volunteer their time and expertise for a short time to communities in need? And obviously the answer is yes. The mission statement is what you see up there. It's a program of URISA that coordinates short-term volunteer GIS services to communities in need worldwide. These are the areas that have evolved over time where we send volunteers to help with. You can see it's a long list of things that our volunteers have worked on. GISCorps is run by a committee, the core committee that I just mentioned, and you can see some of us there. I think that was last year. Our model of operation is that the core committee is responsible for a number of things. One is to establish relationships and partnerships with recognized agencies and associations such as UN agencies, GSDI, and Peace Corps and other major organizations out there. We also evaluate and screen agencies after receiving a request for volunteers from them to make sure that they meet the objectives that we have for them. And we also then develop job descriptions based on their description of what kind of volunteer help they need, develop a job description, and we also select a project manager for the work. We screen and evaluate the volunteers in our database. We have a large database of volunteers, and we match those volunteers to the projects in need. And then we put the volunteer in contact with the agency in need, and we monitor and evaluate the progress of the work. Projects are both remote and on-site. So sometimes we send volunteers to remote places around the world, but many times they do the work at either home or at the office if they have permission from their place of work to do that. GISCorps does not pay its volunteers for expenses on-site or remote missions. The partner agency does when they have those resources. We have a policy now where we could provide some travel funds, but we don't really have many funds to help do that. We're hoping to raise some funds to be able to send volunteers on missions when the agency in need doesn't have the resources to do that. This is a profile of the number of volunteers since 2003 to currently. We have more than 3,100 volunteers in our database. Plus we have another about 2,000 what we call friends of GISCorps. Most of our volunteers are very well experienced, with more than 8 years of experience on the average. And over 40% of them have taught GIS courses or workshops. This is the distribution of our volunteers around the world, more than 3,100 of them, and they reside in 96 countries. 76% of them are in US and Canada. What would we have without a map presentation? And they provide a variety of expertise. And you can see a list here. Capacity building, training, technical workshops are offered by some of our volunteers. Needs assessment, strategic planning, building and cleansing databases, a variety of things, as you can see. So a lot of skills, a lot of expertise. So at this point, I want to turn it over to Sheree, who can describe some of the missions that we've had.
Good morning. Thanks so much for the opportunity. This has almost become a sort of routine presentation we give every year, but this year it's wonderful that it's our 10th year anniversary. It's such a wonderful event for all of us, for our volunteers. I just wish more of our volunteers were here. What I'd like to share with you is just a summary of some of the work that's been done in the past year, actually, not just a 10-year, but I'll start with some statistics about the past 10 years missions, and then from there, more details about what's been done in several of the projects for the past 12 months. I think what hopefully that will do is answer some of your questions, and in the past 10 years, we've all experienced standing in front of a crowd and getting some questions about, so how does it exactly work? So what kinds of things do we do? How long do we have to do this? And so I'm hoping that some of those questions are answered, because there's no one answer. You can serve for any duration of time and either do it from your home, your office, or go somewhere. So with that, let's take a look at a few numbers. Over 132 over 130 missions have been launched. The 448 volunteers that we have deployed to those 132 missions are just a percentage of the 3,100. The reason I'm mentioning that is that we can do so much more. And so we always mention this because if you know of anyone who would be looking for the type of services that our volunteers can provide, bring them to us. We're always looking for projects. Our volunteers love to help, love to provide their services, and we love to have projects to put them to work. Mark mentioned the on-site missions and remote missions. I broke those numbers down because you can see that almost 75% of our missions are now conducted remotely, 99 to 33. This wasn't like that when we started this 10 years ago, but the technology and its changes has basically reversed the trend, so to speak, and now a lot of our projects, people don't need to go anywhere. And that's a good thing, because all those folks who can't travel, they don't have an excuse anymore. So if you're not a GISCorps volunteer, sign up. It's easy. Go to our website and just give us all the information that you can about yourselves, plus your resume. The process of recruitment, Mark touched on that, but I think we're very unique because of how we do what we do. There's a lot of personal attention that is given to the process. We get on the phone with the volunteers. We really get to the bottom of who they are, what they know, and how willing they are to do what we are asking them to do. Sending someone to Kabul, Afghanistan, let me tell you, it's not a light type of request that you ask of someone. So you better know, you really better get to know them well before you put them in jeopardy or put the organization at risk. So we do take time, we get on the phone. Probably about 300 so of these folks that you see, the 400 out of the 448, we have spoken with. And that's not the trend in many of the organizations. They don't pay that close and personal attention that we do. And that has played a great role in the success of the program. Our volunteers are loved by who we put them in contact with. That last line is about the breakdown between the disaster response, emergency response projects versus non-disaster response. We almost have sent volunteers to every disaster response or every disaster that has happened since we started doing this in 2004. New Year's Eve, the first phone call came post the Asian tsunami. And from there on, we've been helping out in every disaster, last of which I hope Alan stands up afterwards and talks to you about what we are hearing from Colorado. He's been in contact with a few folks out there, and some of you in the crowd may actually find the time to help out with what we need for that project. But for those who might think GISCorps just provides volunteers for disaster response, look at the percentage. It's about 30%, over 32%. We have found a lot of different ways to help out. And so with that, let's talk about those. Or actually, let's look at the locations of the missions first, and then yet another map. You can see we're all over the place. 48 countries and growing. Uganda was just added, and that was the 48th country. Numbers again, and the number of volunteers versus the number of missions. There is no, steady growth as it shouldn't be, because disasters happen not in a routine and linear fashion, obviously, and also some of the jumps that you see in the number of volunteers are mostly because of some of the larger projects. And what I mean by that is not the number of volunteers that we have put on projects, and many of those large numbers, again, what's responsible for them is the crowdsourcing projects that we have become involved with. These crowdsourcing projects have been in many different areas, some disaster response and some not, and some of them with organizations that they just wanted to test things out and put volunteers on projects that had never done before. We've also done some quality control on the work of some of the crowdsourcing projects. So focus on the last 12 months projects, and starting with Sierra Leone. Jim Tobias, our volunteer from Georgia, ended up going to Sierra Leone. This was a 3 weeks project. This is an on-site, obviously, project. What he ended up with was helping the World Vision staff by teaching them how to use GPS equipment, how to conduct data collection, and then post-processing of the data that was obtained from their field work. And then at the very end, he helped them create online maps utilizing ArcGIS Online. We also have Hall of Famers on our volunteer roster, such as Dr. Hoxvold. I wish Bill was here. He responded to a call where we needed a seasoned GIS professional to go out there to southern Russia to a university and talk about the United States and in general local government's usage of GIS and how we deal with it on the policy side and also on the data side in the US, and then the workshop continued with him giving more advanced courses. This was a short-term project, so just if you put that in comparison with other projects, I just wanted to make a note that the projects can be from a few days to month plus. This is a short-term project as well, and the expertise of a volunteer was needed in very quickly analyzing the aerial photography that was compiled by the Civil Air Patrol, who does this type of work after disasters. And our volunteer was from California and went to Camp Roberts in California and basically used image processing and remote sensing skills of hers to put these imageries together for further work to be done on the imagery, and mainly that was damage assessment. We did a couple of projects post-Sandy, Hurricane Sandy, and this one is an example of a very sophisticated model that was produced by 4 of our volunteers, and very complex remote sensing processes that they used to generate a damage proxy map, and they utilized also radar imagery. This one, also post-Sandy, was a crowdsourcing project. This group contacted us because they had put crowd on this platform where they would look at imagery, once again from Civil Air Patrol, and very quickly make a call as to, okay, I'm looking at this image. Does it have mild, low, or high level of damage? And very quickly click on it. And they wanted to find out if this was an effective way of identifying where the major damages were so they can send the assistance that was needed. However, afterwards they came to us and said, we really want to know if people who are expert in GIS would make the same calls. Can you put your volunteers on the same platform so we can do a comparison? And that's what the 9 volunteers ended up doing.
And how was the assessment?
The assessment actually ended up being very, very close. Our volunteers did better because they were more, and interestingly enough, I'm glad you mentioned that because there are reports behind every one of these slides. I'm totally doing a disservice to every one of these projects because the volunteers, after they get the project done, we ask that they write a report. So there is a very nice report about this project that looks at the skill level of our volunteers, number of years of experience, where they even from the area, from New Jersey and New York, did they have additional knowledge of the locale so they could make better decisions. So I encourage you to take a look at that, but the final result actually ended up being very, very close, which is interesting and worth to take a look at. This is a type of project that was for humanitarian relief. Very interesting, fascinating story. We have had 2 projects or 2 different projects or phases, and the third one is also in the works. The group that came to us was very much interested to find out the reasons behind the death of the migrants from Africa to Europe, and that had been happening for quite a while, and they were sensing that these migrants who were in ships and leaving the coast of Africa could have been rescued by the NATO ships, but they were ignored. And what they wanted from us were remote sensing specialists who could take a look at the whereabouts of the ships, look at the size of the ships from radar satellite imagery, look at the SOSs that were sent by the ship, look at the location and the lat longs of the ships, the timing of and the location of the NATO ships, and make a case for, yes, the SOS was sent out, but it was ignored because there were that many NATO ships with this size and this kind of characteristic nearby. So we scrambled over that one. There aren't too many volunteers who are experts in using radar satellite imagery in that fashion, but we got really lucky. A professor from California responded to this project, and so this actually went to the court, and the outcome of the work of our volunteers played a very important role in this project. Search and rescue projects in California, we made 9 volunteers, 8 volunteers available to this project. And this was where our volunteers basically went and trained the search and rescue people in how to use GIS technology to do their job better. This is, again, like I said, it's a pilot project, and we're hoping that this would go beyond California. At the request of USGS, who has a program called the Map Corps, we made 23 of our volunteers available to this project. It's a crowdsourcing project. This platform, if you haven't checked it out, check it out, because they basically wanted to use crowd to go in and do a quality control on the data that was on their website. And those were mostly the structures, the national structures data set, and the work of the volunteers was to Google and search any resources available to them, and then document it and go back to the database and make corrections so that the base can be more accurate and more current. Another remote sensing project of a longer period, this was in Tanzania, a change detection project, and the satellite imagery from 2004 and 2008 were looked at, and it was a thematic mapper, and then they are now looking at the second phase using Worldview, which has a higher resolution, to do more detailed analysis in the area. But the gist of the project was, let's conduct change detection and analyze the vegetation change in this area. An example of how our volunteers can actually assemble training manuals for, again, nonprofit organizations that don't have the skill set to do it themselves, and or the tools, and in this case the volunteer also stayed in touch with the organization so that he can help them down the road. And so we got a donation from Esri earlier this year, ArcGIS Online subscription, for primarily for disaster response projects, so that if something happens somewhere, we can very quickly not only deploy volunteers, but also have access to ArcGIS Online, so that if there's a need for creating a web app of any kind, they can do that. We haven't used it in a disaster response project yet, but we have used it for a couple of projects that I want to share with you. And one of them, the first one, is for an organization called International Cancer Alternative Network, or ICANN. The lady who has started this project came to us, and she, herself being a cancer survivor, is trying to put up a website, and then this web map is going to go in that website where people can go and find out the location of patients, cancer patients who are using alternative treatments, and using the map interface as a way to communicate with the rest of the patients, and also information about the physicians that have expertise in that area. A really fascinating project. We put a volunteer on this, and now they need more customization for the web map that we have created. So for you programmers in the crowd, JavaScript programmers especially, please, if you find this project something that intrigues you and you want to help with, come and see one of us after the presentation. We would love to put you in contact with the first volunteer and with Leslie, who came to us, so that we can provide those custom tools to them. The second one that's using ArcGIS Online is an environmental NGO, World Federation for Coral Reef Conservation. We found a volunteer in Kenya, and so he was invited into ArcGIS Online as a publisher, and he is basically behind the scenes creating all kinds of maps and apps for them. What's nice about the platform, as most of you know, is that he basically shares it with those who he wants to get their input, and then of course when it's all looking the way they want, they make that map a public map and make it available to everyone. The third one is an NGO in Washington, but they do global work, a variety of humanitarian work in everywhere. And so they came to us and said that they have members all over the world and they really want the map, the locations map, and not only the location, but information about each one of the organizations and what they're doing in a form of links or photos or clips, and all of those actually are in the process of being incorporated into our GIS Online. I got an email last night that, again, additional information was being sent to the volunteers so that it can be inputted in this website. The next two slides are, and I'm not going to go through every one of them, these are projects in progress. The ones that I shared with you earlier, these are completed. So these projects in progress, the durations of all vary. Actually, the third one here, the one for Indonesia, recently was completed. The feature story will be in our newsletter. For those of you who do not get the GISCorps newsletter, and you're wondering how to get it, come and become a friend of ours. What Mark mentioned, that we have about 2,000 friends of GISCorps. What that means is that you basically come to our website. If you don't have time to volunteer, when you become a friend of GISCorps, that means you're going to be on our listserv and at least will get our newsletter. So if you have interest to know more about what we do, go to our website, and we ask very minimal information, including your email address, so that we can send you the newsletter. More projects, as I mentioned, one with Amnesty International, really interesting project in Cambodia, remote sensing also. We have a K-12 project in the works, and Javier Aguilar is right here. Actually, he's the one who's working on that project. The second phase of the project, I believe, is either happening now or very soon. So stay tuned for a feature story that he's going to do on both of the projects that he's done, and it's going to be hopefully in our November newsletter. And hot off the press, so to speak, this is Sarah Hodges. She went to Kabul 2 weeks ago. She's going to stay there for another 2 weeks. She's working with the UN EP, environmental program, on a project that's actually a collaborative project with Kabul University also. And we're really proud of the projects we've done in Afghanistan. She's the 5th volunteer who has gone to Kabul, and she's having a great time. She sends emails here and there, so I know that she's really enjoying the very unique experience. And some of you may have seen some of the little kitten photos of the mission that Michelle Kenzo just went on to Zambia. I encourage you to read the report, the final report. We'll be working on it as soon as we go back, because this is also going to be in our newsletter. But this organization, guys, check it out, check them out. I love them. They're one of my personal favorites as far as the NGOs go. This South Luangwa Conservation is a truly, truly amazing organization that this lady, who you see her picture in the middle, her name is Rachel McGraw. She runs this program, and she is a force to reckon with. She's amazing, and they are doing amazing work to protect the endangered and threatened species in that park. And so our volunteer went there, and also it was a teaching training combined, and basically field work, I should say, and training. Again, GPS equipment. The scouts are out there finding the locations of animals that are being injured or hunted for their ivory, in the case of an elephant. So they're trying to find trends, they're trying to find the whereabouts of that, and then send the scouts where they need to be, or where it's to protect areas that needs more protection. So now they can actually do it themselves. When Michelle went there, she was the enabler. Now they have the software, they have the tools to do it on their own. And so, of course, we got a couple of awards. I wanted to mention that from President Obama, which is an honor and also one from the Daily Point of Light. And this is a fantastic award that we are so proud of, and our volunteers are very much deserving of. Before I end, I really like to, it's a 10th year anniversary. I don't know what's different between 10th and 11th, but you know, numbers that are rounded, I suppose, have more importance. But it's a good time to acknowledge some people. It's been quite a journey. It's like there isn't an evening that goes by and GISCorps is not a part of it for us. So it's a part of our lives, and we're very thankful, more than anyone, obviously, to our volunteers who are selfless, who do this, and it's a win-win. They help those who need the help, can't get the help without it, because they just don't have the resources, either in a disaster or non-disaster situation. But also they learn and they teach, and it's a joy. And so for those volunteers in the crowd, if you've done any volunteer work, can you please stand up? Thank you. And a special thank you to the core committee members. Mark Salling, who just stood up here. I'm going to tear up. I promised myself not to. He's been with the Corps for 8 years, so it's been an honor, and I'm very thankful. Diane, 7 years, and Alan, 5 years. Amazing group of people. It's like 10 years, 10 times, 12 months, 120 hours of just core committee conference calls, and just spending it with you guys have been a joy. Carol Kramer, our newest member, 2 years, and we're going to keep you and not let you go. So just wait for that. And also I wanted to acknowledge Yuna Papayorgi. She stayed with us for the first 5 years, a very, very integral part of what GISCorps became, and I wish she was here. I emailed her last week and she said she wished she could be here, and so I wanted to make sure that I'm acknowledging her. And Wendy, can you stand up? She might look like a silent partner, but she's been with us, and her support's been just amazing, and from day one. So thank you for that, and thank you everyone. If you have projects, if you want to volunteer, come to us, talk with us, and have a wonderful rest of the conference. Sorry, I forgot. Alan's going to tell you about Colorado.
All right, so if any of you have been sleeping under a rock or anything like that, you might not know that Colorado is having massive floods right now. And for some reason, I don't think of Colorado as flooding from rain, but that's what's been happening. I think it is snow runoff or something. Anyway, Colorado is flooding, and I've been in contact with the Colorado Department of Transportation, and then for GISCorps, they're looking for 3 volunteers. There are a couple of areas, and if any of you are available as a potential volunteer, then see us up at the table when this is over. The areas are data. One of them is a data entry to mapping, so it's a little bit of two-pronged approach. What happens is all these reports are coming in. They're coming in a paper format, and they need to be converted to Excel and then made into a map. And they have some GPS or just locational information on them. And so we need 2 volunteers to go in real time, as fast as possible, turn these things into maps. The other thing is, from an ArcGIS server developer perspective, the ITS, Intelligent Transportation System Network, is putting feeds down, harvesting information that is giving us road closure data, and because roads are getting closed all the time with the flooding continuing to happen, and we need somebody to build a data harvester, so to speak, and bring that information into ArcGIS server so we can real-time show road closures. That's what CDOT's looking for. So if you have skill sets, 3 volunteers, it would be awesome if you come up after and we see if we can put you in contact and get that going. And now, I have to, a little aside, let me see if I can get to it here. It's this guy.
Happy anniversary, GISCorps. Congratulations on enabling GIS professionals to volunteer their skills and expertise around the world for the past 10 years. And a special thank you and congratulations to Sheree. I remember being on the board when the thought of GISCorps was just a glint in Sheree's eyes, and we were trying to figure out what to name this initiative. As board members 10 years ago, we were so excited to approve GISCorps as a program of URISA. Later on, as URISA president, I watched in awe as GISCorps responded to the tragedy and devastation of Hurricane Katrina. As a core committee member for the last several years, I'm constantly amazed at the skills of our volunteers and the variety of missions that we've been asked to complete. Sheree, you are the heart and soul of GISCorps. You bring such energy, devotion, and dedication to its mission. Congratulations on making the dream a reality and on providing such a positive contribution to the world along with our other volunteers. I am humbled and honored to serve with you on the core committee. So here's to the next 10 years.
Sheree, it's been an incredible honor working with you for GISCorps. Your driving and relentless vitality and passion have made an idea, an inspiration really, a reality. If we could all count the number of people in the world, especially those in most need, who have benefited in either a direct way or indirectly from our volunteering, and then ranked us from high to low on that score, you would be at the top of the list. And you just keep going. You're impossible to keep up with for us mortals. So with all the superlatives and thanks you hear in this video, let me say that you deserve it all, and more. We can't express enough our amazement at what you do. For the volunteers, and though they don't know you, the many people they have helped, you have our great appreciation and admiration. Thanks, Sheree.
Let's do it. Yeah. Hi, Alan. Look, we've scripted. Look at that.
The views expressed in this video do not represent those of my employer necessarily, although I think he loves Surrey too.
Yeah. My employer is totally cool with this. Anything we say.
So Surrey, hi, how you doing? I'm sorry we couldn't be there. Or Carol's there. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today to say this in person, but I did want to record a short message saying how grateful I am for the work that you've done with the GISCorps. And I'm really grateful to participate in the projects with the volunteers. It's been an absolute career highlight for me. There's just no doubt about it. And it wouldn't be possible with all the hard work that you do. And I think it's just really incredible. Carol and I were talking about the first time that we met you, and we had very similar experiences, which was really funny. We had met, you and I had met online through email for a number of years before we actually ran into each other in the lobby of the World Bank building, and we came around the corner and we both recognized each other and we screamed like little girls at the top of our lungs. And it was like we were long lost friends that had been away far too long, and that's the environment that you create with people virtually across the world over email. And it's just such an incredible skill set you have for bringing warmth to everyone that you meet. And so, you know, as if the technical work wasn't great enough, it's all done with this great environment of warmth and love. And yeah, we're really grateful. We think you're perfect for the job, for the unpaid, you know, not nearly well enough recognized job that you do. Yeah.
Yeah, so like Karen was saying, Shoei has created this amazing environment of professionals that become volunteers that are truly focused on wanting to make a difference in various communities. And she's given these people a home, given us a home. And it's this feeling of once you're in, you're family. Being a part of the GISCorps has really provided a sense of belonging to a community that is making a difference. a connection with other amazing people that are sharing this common calling, doing really important work in different communities around the world. And then, this mechanism where you can truly give back, not only to the GIS profession, but also to these communities. And then also these tangible results that just leave you feeling warm and fuzzy inside. So Shore, in short, has been our chicken soup for the soul.
You said mechanism. We love you, Saray. Thank you. Thank you so much.
GISCorps is more than just a great idea. It is the result of great work, commitment, and determination of many GIS professionals to make a difference by giving back to the community. That wish, along with outstanding leadership, made GISCorps to be the organization that it is today. I would like to especially commend one of its leaders by saying that her outstanding ethical values, her big heart, and her always positive attitude has helped this organization to change the world one mission at a time. This leader is Shore, and I would like to say 2 words for you, Shore. Thank you. Thank you for being the great leader, the great friend, and the person with this big heart that you are, and we are looking forward to have many more years of you leading and helping the GIS community to do great things and do good GIS.
Shore, congratulations on 10 years of GISCorps. It's truly an outstanding accomplishment that would have not been possible without your foresight, drive, dedication to making sure it's a success. In 10 years, over 130 missions, 48 countries, thousands of volunteers, all made possible by your hard work day and night, weekends, you name it, Shore's there. So now I think it's time to celebrate and pre-celebrate the next 10 years of a successful GISCorps by cracking this sucker open. Expensive French champagne. Shore, thanks for all that you do. It's truly an honor to work with you.
Hi, my name is Jack Dangeman, and I want to say congratulations, URISA, on the GISCorps. This is just an amazing thing that you've accomplished. It's made a huge difference in disaster response and humanitarian activities, not here just in the United States, but also overseas. This didn't just happen. Shore, in her brain, thought about this with intention and created this institution, got us all to buy into it and support this incredible footprint of human endeavor that has gone on now for 10 years. It's hard to believe it. I'm passionate about this, and I want to encourage all of you to both volunteer for it, but also contribute resources, as we all have been doing collectively for years. Financial resources, computer resources, other sorts of things to continue into the future with this great work. This is one of those things that I really believe in. So thank you, Shore. Thank you for all of you who have volunteered and those of you who are sponsoring and make this institution continue on.
So Shore, just one more thing. In recognition of GISCorps' amazing 10 years anniversary, it's your extreme dedication. Yes. The Corps Committee has made a donation of $1,000 to GISCorps, and we are excited to continue for the next 10 years and work beside you to make GISCorps a success. And also, I do really have your expensive champagne up here. All right. So.